Anyone that follows my videos will know that I repair the ceramic elements from GHD hair straighteners when the wires get broken off. There's a number of ways of doing it. The best way is with the oxyacetylene and a micro torch that I've got, and silver solder. You can use high temperature solder to do it, but it's not ideal. I still do it, and I haven't had any returns. But silver solder is the best way. Now the only issue with silver solder is, and the oxyacetylene, the torch is so hot that it's very easy to shock the ceramic element, and it just cracks. So you've got to preheat it. Now, those of you who might remember, I had a little single ring hob, this sort of size. The trouble is, it was so big, and the mains cable was not really long enough. I was always struggling to get it just in the right orientation, and of course it's chucking out heat over this big ring. I don't know what sort of diameter it was, probably 8 or 9 inches. So whilst browsing Amazon yesterday, when was it? The weekend, I came across a tiny little mains self-regulating hot plate, and this is it. It was about £8. I'll put the link in the description. And I thought, this might be absolutely ideal. It's not going to be perfect for your average home user, because you've got to make up all of the connections yourself. But it looks, this is an aluminium plate, and they have just literally stuffed an element in there that is perfectly okay, whacked across the mains. So yeah, fairly unusual, but that size would be absolutely perfect. If I can get a way of figure a way of just securing an element. Let me grab one and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So for instance, we've got a 70 ohm element here with a wire that's broken off. You just need to get all of the high temperature silicon off, clean up the terminal, and you'll see that it's either spot welded or silver soldered. I don't know exactly the process the factory uses, but it's certainly very, very hard to melt the wire off of the element's contacts. But as you can see, that is a perfect size for that, and much easier to work on. Yeah, so it's got little magnetic feet, so you would have it on these feet screwed in at the top, and I guess in theory you could stick it to any sort of metal plate that you might have, just to, if you've got a sheet of metal, you can stick it to that quite easily to stop it moving around. I suppose the other thing you could do is just do some standoffs on the work surface and just screw it into the work surface if you wanted a permanent position for it. Or in fact, I suppose you could just glue these once they're fitted, just glue them in position wherever you happen to need it. So what we're going to do is we will just fit these feet. We'll connect it up to some cable and a plug, and we'll test the temperature, see if its claims are actually accurate. I think it said 260 degrees just by plugging it into the mains. Nothing else is required. Right, I've just done this together as quickly as possible with a connector I've got. I can't remember the name. I use them on the 3D printers. What I would do ideally is just enclose those in some heat shrink tubing, and I would probably have used 3-core if I had it, and just earthed one of these screw terminals with a locking washer or star washer or something, but for my purpose, this is perfectly okay. So we've got a thermistor on there, and we're just going to plug this in and see what we get. Oh yeah, it's heating up pretty quick. Trying to read it in the camera's display, see what we get up to. Yep. What are we up to? What does that say? No, can't read it backwards. 223, 224. Just making a few creaks. 237. Got a low mass bead thermistor in there, so it acts pretty quick. 245, yeah, I mean that is pretty good. That would be absolutely fine for preheating the elements as I work on them, just to silver solder new nickel wires on. What are we up to? 250. Seems to be holding pretty steady. Oh, it's gone up again. No. So I think it said 260, but it may have been 250. But that is it's pretty good. That's ideal, and I mean it's chucking some heat off, but not like the big ring I was using prior to getting this. So that looks like it's going to do the job for about £8. We're going up a bit now. 256, if you can see that. 256, 257. So yeah, ideal little hot plate for the very small jobs that I need to do. Let's just grab something. Yeah, you can just see it's melting the solder. I've just left a little bit of residue behind there as it melts. There you go, you just saw it bead up, hopefully. So yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's at 260 or thereabouts. So yeah, looks like that's going to be absolutely fine. I've popped it on a long 2-core cable, and that will work out absolutely perfectly. Whoa, it's hot. I'm going to have to leave that on there till it cools down, I think. So I can hook it off here. There we go. Let's get that off. Christ, that tape's hot as well. Right, well look, there we go. I think that is going to do the job I need it to do, and maybe it will be useful for you guys as well. So that is a £8 preheater.